Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of Wrestle Legion. My name is Cy, and I'm joined here today by two of the best wrestling minds in the business. First of all, up to you, big guy at the top, Andy. How are you doing, mate?
All good, mate. All good. Glad to be back online and excited for this new venture, mate.
It's been too long, hasn't it? It's been too long. And joining me as well tonight, we have a very long-term friend of mine, the esteemed Nick the Geek. How are you tonight, sir?
I am fantastic, Si. I'm really looking forward to this, boys. It's good to be back.
It's been a while since we've been online. We have a new look, we have a new format, we have a new channel of our own. So thanks for joining us tonight. We're going to be starting off looking back at this week's news, giving you some speculation, some thoughts on some of the stuff that's been happening. But before we delve too deeply into that, I think we need to take a moment and acknowledge the passing of Jay Briscoe. I think it hit us all like a ton of bricks, the wrestling community in general. Guys, what are your thoughts about this one?
I'll go first if you don't mind, lads. Jay Briscoe was a big part of my fandom growing up. Obviously, I have a brother. We are both obsessed with professional wrestling and spent most of our young lives beating the hell out of each other. I see a lot of me and my brother in Jay and Mark. So it was really sad to see Jay go. He's only a year younger than me, so it's no age to be taken from us in any way, shape, or form. But hopefully people will remember that what he did in his career far outweighs any negative press that he got in the past. Like, Jay Briscoe was an astounding professional wrestler, an astounding human being, and a fantastic father. And what else can you ask for a man? He will be missed more than people know.
Yeah,
Andy?
And just to echo Nick's sentiments, I think one thing that was very, very apparent was just the outpouring from the wrestling world. It was just, like the likes of Seth Rollins stating there wouldn't be no Seth Rollins without Jay, and the Briscoes as a package. They give us some great matches over the years. Sadly, the night before he died, we were talking about it, wasn't we, Nick, saying about the Ring of Honor card this year at WrestleMania weekend, and we were saying, how awesome it would have been to see, how awesome it was going to be to see the Briscoes. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case now. But considering we were, all of us are travelling to the same place, we're going to a big event, and out of all that, the Briscoes was one of the things that we were talking about seeing. Just shows you what kind of talent they were.
Yeah, it's a sad time, and it came out of nowhere. You never really know what's going to happen in life, and that was one of those shockers. You just don't expect things like that, and I think we've seen like an outpouring of tributes and comments and posts this week. I mean, I went on Twitter the morning after, and usually you see this about AEW, this about WWE, and the whole feed. Like, I was scrolling for 20 minutes. The whole feed was tributes for Jay, and I haven't seen that for a long time. And wasn't it great as well seeing the little things like Michael Cole making the reference on SmackDown? We got the Viking Raiders with the armbands. AEW did what they did, but obviously couldn't show it with Time Warner. How do you guys feel about that? What's your views on that one?
Honestly, slightly ridiculous. Regardless what the man said in a online video 10 years ago because he was young, drunk, and stupid, he's just passed away. The least you could do is show the respect to a guy who helped build a company that is now owned and under your banner. I get why they did it, legal ramifications and all that whatnot, but it's ridiculous. The man had just passed away. It'd be the right thing to do.
I mean, it like you say, it's ridiculous that he had the ban in the first place. When there are other people that have said arguably homophobic things in the past, like CM Punk, who didn't have the same ban, so it's double standards. He should never have been banned to begin with. He's apologized several times over the years. But I'm not on the bandwagon of people who are trying to cancel Time Warner for what they're doing. I think, if anything, the tribute show should be under the Ring of Honor banner, because that's where Jay, made his name, didn't he?
I do agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. And I just think, like, sometimes some of these fat cats in the offices make these stupid decisions, and sadly, the one thing that I just hope people don't do is try and pull Tony Khan into the same thing as them, because realistically, let's face it, he has no choice.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is. Anyway, as sad as that's been, I don't want to dwell on this too much because we've got a lot to discuss, and it's an exciting day for us with the launch of this new channel. So the first thing that we're going to be talking about today, the big news this week, is The Rock coming back or isn't he? How do you feel about it, Andy?
Well, I don't know where to begin. So I know this week Dave Meltzer popped out and said that The Rock had given notice to say he wouldn't be in shape for WrestleMania, which I think is an absolute load of nonsense. Triple H seems to be throwing a few little red herrings out there at the moment, and Uncle Dave's probably the best place to start them off. If you are The Rock and you train the way The Rock does and everything else that goes with it, there is no way at this point in time you are going to notify to say that you will not be ready, because if that was the case, plans for The Rock's return will have already been in place going back to probably June last year, maybe even more longer than that. So, for me, it won't be just a one-shot match. It'll be a program where, as I say, I believe he'll appear in the Rumble or whatnot. Whether he wins the Rumble's another matter, but he will appear somewhere along the lines. And I feel like he's going to get involved in some ruckuses and whatever else that goes on. So for him to notify at this time that he's not fit would be absolutely nonsense, because he would have knew he wouldn't have been ready before that. If you also look at The Rock on his Instagram and stuff like that, he's training constantly, which he always does, but he's actually looking a bit more ripped than what he is big at the moment. I don't know whether anyone of you's got onto that a little bit more.
He's not been bulking, he's been shredding down.
Yes. Which tells us that he's looking more for cardio than he is for bulk at this present moment. I wonder why. I think everything points to the fact that we will see him at WrestleMania. I also believe that we're going to see him at the Rumble.
Do you think you'll see him at the Rumble or in the Rumble?
In the Rumble.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, because I believe also as well, the reason which I thought was a telling sign and was quite interesting was at the Raw last week when they announced Cody was going to be in the Rumble. Now, Sean Ross Sapp turned around and said the reason they announced Cody for the Rumble is because they believe with the surprises installed, they don't need Cody's return.
Yeah.
So straight away you're thinking, who's bigger than Cody Rhodes? How about you, Nick? What are your thoughts on this?
Well, as we all know, lads, we're going to WrestleMania. And I want nothing more than to have The Rock versus Roman Reigns on night 1 or night 2, regardless which, at WrestleMania. However, I want Cody to win the Rumble. And The Rock versus Roman, at the moment, there's only one perceivable way for The Rock to get that match against Roman while Roman has those belts. And that is winning the Royal Rumble. I don't want The Rock to win the Rumble. As much as I will pop if The Rock wins the Royal Rumble, it's The Rock. We all love The Rock. Everyone always has. It will never change. I don't want him to win the Royal Rumble. I want Cody Rhodes to win the Royal Rumble. So it gets in the way. Unless they can get those belts off Roman by WrestleMania, before WrestleMania, The Rock's winning the Rumble.
There's an easy way to do that.
He's going to be in it, and I think he's going to come in at 28, and he's going to win it.
So you're saying about a way to get those belts, or that belt, whatever you want to call it, off The Rock between now and WrestleMania. I've got 2 words for you, boys. Elimination Chamber.
I was just going to say it.
So,
yes.
There's so many ways The Rock could start a story with Roman, but I genuinely don't think Roman is going to have that strap going into WrestleMania. I think the Rumble winner could end up fighting whoever wins the belt in Montreal. Can't even show you my Sami Zayn shirt, but I think Sami's taking the title in his hometown, and I think he's walking into Mania as champion. There's so many different possibilities at the minute, and it's the most exciting time of year to be a wrestling fan.
Let's not forget as well that the original Elimination Chamber venue was not Montreal. They switched it to Montreal.
Yeah, they did. They switched it to Sami Zayn's hometown from Saudi Arabia.
where Sammy doesn't go.
Where Sammy doesn't go and isn't allowed to go. So it does make sense, and I will be over the moon if they put the belts on Sami Zayn. We all love Sami Zayn here. Sami Zayn is a wonderful human being. He's a wonderful wrestler, and he's a wonderful character.
Yeah, I think also as well is with the Sami Zayn character, I think it's not just for me, it's not just the Sami Zayn, because I think WWE pull the trigger on these people too fast sometimes. You know, Kofi Kingston, Big E's probably two great examples of that. Nikki AHS, if you want to look at the women's side of things, Liv Morgan. It's okay putting the title on somebody, but it's what you do after that. Now, with Sammy, obviously Sammy's great anyway, so you get the emotion of them storylines after the fact. But the unique position I think we found ourselves in is straight away after the Roman match, you've got the Kevin Owens story, which was massive in NXT, and to see that on the biggest scale of WrestleMania and whatnot would just be very intriguing, interesting, and also awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a question, Si. What if Kevin Owens loses at the Rumble, then enters the Royal Rumble, and wins the Royal Rumble?
This has been my thought. If you can go back on my Twitter, probably 2 months when I first mentioned this, and it has been done a lot. I think Brock did it last year. And there was somebody else a few years ago that slipped in my mind. But if Owens should end up having a no contest with Roman or losing, it wasn't it? Yeah. There's no reason why you can't come back and win that Rumble. And then you're thinking, Owens Rocket Mania. And then with what's happening with Sammy on Monday, have you guys seen that the schedule's been changed for Raw? For what was originally I forget the word in it, was some kind of Sammy Appreciation Society or whatever.
No, it was
Honorary Uso, wasn't it?
No, it was the Bloodline Appreciation or something like that.
The Bloodline Acknowledgement Ceremony.
Yeah,
yes.
That was it.
Whereas now, apparently, and I don't know whether this is legitimate news or not, but I've read that the title has been changed, The Trial of Sami Zayn. So this makes you think that Sami is getting set up for this feud with Roman. Now, could it be we're all wrong, and the reality is we'll end up getting Sami challenging against Roman with The Rock in his corner? There's all kind of ways this could go.
Well, the thing is, Jey Uso used the sentence, the whole bloodline will be in attendance. Now, that means Rikishi, that means Arthur, that means Sika, that means every Samoan of the dynasty that is still alive. Well, The Rock is very much part of that dynasty.
Yeah, and I believe that
we see him on Monday.
No, I think they've done it on purpose. So, according to Sean Ross Sapp, the plan was always for The Rock to be at the Rumble. Quite interestingly, apparently there's a pitch, and it doesn't know. I've seen this on multiple sources as well, of Austin and The Rock having a moment in the Rumble. A kind of a standoff face-off.
Yeah, I saw that floating around as well, and I don't know if I see Steve Austin in the Rumble. But it'd be a great way to set up a Mania match for him, because at the minute it's how do you set that up?
Someone eliminates him, he gets his little moment. But also, as I say, go back to the reason why I don't think The Rock was meant to be there on Monday is I think same as they were doing with the Bray Wyatt stuff. WWE are trolling everybody. They've been doing it for a while with the Bray Wyatt stuff, with other things that they were doing, and they're doing it to a T. So, a little release to a dirt sheet, a little comment of, the whole bloodline, but not actually saying it was the full bloodline and letting us just go away with ourselves. That seems to be the mantra right now, doesn't it, Si?
Misdirection. That's what Triple H's forte has been for years and years. It's like, show them this hand, hit them with the other one. There could be a lot of surprises around the corner. We tend to call a lot, don't we, between us? We get quite a lot right. But I think we're going to get quite a few surprises this next week, starting on Monday. So, talking about the Rumble, who do you guys see being the surprise entrants this year? Let's start with you, Nick. Start with the men's. Just give me a couple of names.
I got two in mind. One, Matt Cardona. Not Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona.
Okay.
Right? He has done too much work on the indie circuit to be come back and be put in as Zack. And if it's a one-time deal, there's no reason for him to be Zack Ryder. You bring him back as Matt Cardona. And Chelsea Green has already been hinting that she will be in the women's. Well, if she's going to be in the women's, you know damn well her husband's going to be in the men's. And my other one is Jay White.
Ooh.
Now, this is just for me. I'm a complete Jay White mark. I think he's probably the best heel outside of the two big companies in the world. His contract is due in about a year, I think.
I mean, Jay White's got a couple of matches scheduled in February, but there's no reason why he can't work both, like
exactly,
you know, like the Good Brothers did.
Well, I'm figuring it was Triple H is going to want something as part of that deal with New Japan. And maybe getting Jay, who's just dropped the World Championship, to appear in the Royal Rumble when he's over in the States at the time wouldn't be a bad thing. And for me, I'd pop like a crazy person.
Just before I move on to you, Andy, you've got Jay White in the Rumble, Nick. Who do you put him against at Mania?
Seth. Without a shadow of a doubt, Seth.
Yeah.
One, Seth has nothing to do right now, unless you're going to stick him back in a Cody feud, which nobody wants to see. Great matches as they are, we don't need to see a fourth match where Cody wins again. All right, so put Jay in there with Seth.
That'd be a really good match. Yeah.
Both incredible workers, both incredible talkers.
So, Mark Cardona and Jay White, what do you think, Andy? Give me two names. Men's Rumble.
First thing I want to say on this is I've noticed a lot of things on Twitter at the moment about people going on about, you know, we don't need to. One of the things I've seen was me and Dale were talking about this today. Is people saying don't need to see Austin, don't need to see The Rock, don't need to see this, and it's like, yeah, we do, because that's the whole point in the Rumble. Is to get these nostalgia pops. So if you don't mind, I'm going to do four. I'm going to do.
Yeah, go on, mate. You've got time for four.
Okay, so my first one is Great Muta.
I'm not going to have any left.
The Great Muta. I think he's on the final round of his career. I feel like, you know, as Nick's probably said the same thing with Jay White, is they let Shinsuke go over there. He'll probably go in the Hall of Fame this year as well. Makes sense for him to get a little run in the Rumble, come out and miss somebody and get off again. Okay, number two for the males is Will Ospreay.
That's a big shout.
Yeah, I feel like, again, probably to do with the Carl Anderson stuff, but I feel like Will Ospreay would be really open to going in for a one shot with WWE. Obviously, he's a New Japan guy. I don't see him staying over there, but also he didn't really have a great run with AEW and didn't particularly seem to like it, from what he was saying. So
I don't know if Will particularly likes anything, though, does he?
Yeah. No, he doesn't. I think like he probably would have a little bit of a pop in the Rumble, and then when him and Kenny come back together, he can use the whole, well, I'm WWE versus AEW. You know what I mean? Because it's one thing that Kenny Omega's not done, is being in WWE, and I think Will going in the Rumble, and again, you know, one thing Will is, he's a very smart guy. And I feel like that would be something he would look and go, okay, well, that's something I can knock away from what Kenny can't achieve.
You see, I was thinking about Will potentially for NXT Europe when that launches, but yeah. And who's your fourth one?
Okay, just the thing is as well, so just go back to that one. But if he is going potentially to WWE Europe site, then, you know, what a good way to start off the relationship by throwing him in the Rumble and then turning around and going, the first signee of WWE Europe.
Yeah. And probably your first champion.
Yeah. You know, sorry, mate, go on.
I was just going to add, honestly, with Ospreay, I think he could very well have been in NXT UK at the beginning if Will the Sport hadn't snatched him up like they did. So, yeah, who knows? Sorry, mate, go on. Your next pick.
So, my next two are women. So, my first one for the women, I am going to say Naomi.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Seen nothing of her. We haven't seen nothing come through her. She's popped, you know, she's just kind of been in the background. I feel like she will be the one that appears in the Rumble.
Yeah, I go with that.
With Naomi, which is a great shout, do you have a stay on her own, or do you have her join the Bloodline?
Keep it on her own. I don't think Naomi's style and everything else will fit in the Bloodline.
Yeah, but who's to say she can't change things up?
I just don't think she could. I just think just the way she is, she wouldn't. I think if you want to go down the bloodline route, then you've got Simone sitting there, haven't you, in NXT?
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah. And your other woman?
Simone.
Oh, okay. Simone Johnson.
I think she comes into the Royal Rumble, Rock's daughter, to introduce her to the main roster. She's been in NXT a little while now. She's been doing okay. But also, if you're not going to have the Rock on weekly television in the lead up to WrestleMania, it'd be good to get the Rock's daughter involved.
You see, I hadn't thought about it coming up anytime soon, but yeah. That's a brave shout, but it could be a good one.
Okay, so do you know what, mate? Yeah, sorry, 1 second. Courtney, this is our new channel.
Hello, Courtney.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you.
How we doing? Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
So Nick,
if you wouldn't mind giving this a little share out for us, Courtney, really appreciate it, pal. This is our brand new
We appreciate all the likes and shares.
Yeah, and also give us a subscribe as well, because you will be our first subscriber. So we will appreciate that. So you will be our number one. Ooh, don't know. We'll have to see.
So Nick, over to you, bud.
Just to go backside before I finish.
Yeah.
So let me ask this you a question. So you're a father like me, and you're a father to a beautiful little girl. Okay, so first question on there is, if you were coming back, if you were The Rock, yeah, and you were bringing all this fanfare, but you had The Rock's money, so you're the same, the same superstar, you got the same money and everything else, so you're not coming back for money because you don't really need it. You're coming back for legacy and everything else. Would you not think to yourself, well, if I can get my daughter to push and advance it in a career a bit faster, would you not take it?
Yeah, I thought you were going to ask me if I was in the men's Royal Rumble, would I want my daughter in one? And yeah, no, I wouldn't be in a Royal Rumble, and she's only 7, so no. Yeah, that's a better question. Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. It's about legacy. It's about family. I mean, she's not done any in ring as far as I know. She's just been kind of on camera, just getting used to like the feel and the presence and that kind of thing. But I mean, Dwayne started at the deep end, didn't he, in the Survivor Series? Just like straight in there. So stranger things have happened.
And the Royal Rumble match is a perfect place to put somebody who hasn't got a lot of talent. Sorry, not a lot of talent. A lot of experience, because they can master them a lot.
The Royal Rumble's really good to put someone in that doesn't have a lot of reps under their belt, because no one notices it. When you come in, all you have to do is do 2 spots and then get thrown out.
And it also gives you a storyline reason, doesn't it? It gives you a legitimate reason straight away for maybe The Rock to be at ringside watching his daughter's first match. So then, he's there later on during the Roman match. Maybe that's where things kick off. If it's not on Raw this week, it's exciting. Nick, 2 names for the Women's Rumble.
Chelsea Green, because I think Matt Cardona is going to be in there. That's his wife. If one's going to be there, the other one's going to be there.
Yeah.
And Mayu Atami.
Bless you.
Mayu Atami, for those who don't know.
Courtney, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Courtney.
We really appreciate it.
Mayu Atami, for those who don't know, is one of the best Japanese wrestlers in the world. Not just Japanese women's wrestlers, but Japanese wrestlers in general. You will remember her from her time in Lucha Underground as one of the 3 ninjas, Simon.
The leader of the Black Ninja Clan with Io Shirai and
she's the one that used to do the Canadian Destroyers off the top rope. And her contract's up. I believe her contract is up. She's working on a paid per appearance basis for Stardom at the moment. I could be wrong on that. Please tell me in the comments if I am wrong, because I do get things wrong a lot. But I believe she's working without a contract at the moment. So I would go crazy to see Mayu work in the Rumble. And if they are turning Asuka back to the Kana character, which is what they appear to be doing, it'd be good to have one of her proteges in there with her.
That is interesting. I mean, we've also got Io Shirai and Kazuya Reznik and Meiko Satomura under contract, who are all former Stardom champions. So yeah, maybe there's a bridge there. For me, I've I mean, you've kind of stolen all the names I was going to come up with for the Women's Rumble. I was thinking Naomi. I even think Naomi may end up winning the thing with her having so much history with Charlotte. I can't really come up with any more now. But there's one name for the men's. I'm just going to give you one.
Bob Backlund ain't going to be there, so.
No. No. Yeah, again, you've come up with some great shouts. But for me, think about where this Royal Rumble is. This Royal Rumble is in the Alamo Dome. Now,
I knew you were going to say this.
The last time the Royal Rumble was in the Alamo Dome, Shawn Michaels beat Psycho Sid by hitting him with a television camera, I believe, to win his second world title.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think the Saudi show was the way for HBK to go out. I think we could hear that music, and Chad Frost could come down to the ring for his final appearance in the Rumble.
I think we're more likely to see Shawn at WrestleMania because he's missed the WrestleMania, and if that's the way to go out, then I think that'd be, because no disrespect to that with the building side, but how many different buildings could you say that about for Shawn Michaels?
Yeah.
3. He's had 4 world titles. This was one of the 4 buildings.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The matches in general, you know what I mean? He's had moments everywhere, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, would he be in the Rumble because it was in the same arena as the barbershop? You know what I mean? It's
yeah. No, I get what you're saying, but it does make sense whether it is one of many, like you say. But the other name,
I'd love to see Shawn in the Rumble.
Yeah.
It'd be great. The other name off the cuff.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
Whether it's AEW or WWE, I want to see Rob have one last run, even just for a few shows, and a Rumble appearance would be great.
Yeah. No. Whether they do let him win a misses with the OnlyFans and all the rest of it, they may not. But
yeah, that's a touchy subject, as Mandy Rose found out.
Okay, that's
misses, though.
Yeah, I know, but he's always retweeting it and everything else, which just doesn't help matters, does it? You know what I mean?
No. And there's the last time he got on the show, he deliberately snuck in an advert for his rolling papers, which Vince was super pissed off about.
He handed him the packet. Vince was like,
I've got
talking about Vince.
Okay, just before we go over, I've got a little thing that's just come off the cuff. Sorry to butt in, but okay, so we've all had our head ones, yeah? So we've had all our head picks. Okay, give me one of each for a heart pick. So I'll go first, yeah? So my heart picks was, for the women's, I'd love to see Francine.
Ooh.
I'd love to see Francine come back and pop in there. And I think for the men's, if I had to pick one that I'd just love to see just pop in there, just out of a pure nostalgia and pure... I'd probably have to say Kurt Angle.
That would be great too. Go on, Nick, I'll follow you.
Aja Kong, because I would love to see that woman in a Royal Rumble, and I don't think she's ever done it. And Sting. Just, everybody knows I'm a complete... Sting's the reason I'm a fan. Right? He's never done the Rumble. Just to hear that with his actual music, like not WWE's weird goth crow stuff, but with his actual music, I'd love to see that happen. I'd go crazy.
Wow.
And I believe his contract's up with AEW now, so.
I think he's having one final match planned though, isn't he? I don't know. We'll see, but yeah, no. One thing that we've never had is Sting in the Rumble, like you say. For me, if I had to pick any woman, it's got to be Medusa, my favorite women's wrestler of all time. I think she's the reason women's wrestling is how it is today. She doesn't get nearly enough credit for it being as it is. A lot of people give a lot of credit to Trish, Lita, that kind of generation, but I think, Alundra, Medusa started it all. Yeah. Apologies. And in terms of the men's, I'm going to go with a bit of a wild card. I'm going to go with a guy that I think is one of the best up-and-coming rookies to join NXT this past year.
Let me guess.
Go for it.
Nathan Frazier.
How did you know? It's not like I talk about him all the time. Nathan Frazier comes in, and he throws out Seth Rollins, setting up the mental astute match for Mania. If we're fantasy booking, that's what I want to see.
I like that.
Yeah.
That'd be
No,
really
that's
good.
it. Sorry about
So-
jumping in there, guys. I just wanted to think, like, we
No,
go
it's
with
a
our
good one.
heads. If you can just think who would you want your heart to have there, because that's what Rumble's all about. We see these things every year, and it's just like,
One more name that's been talked about for a comeback this week, be it at the Royal Rumble or indeed at Raw Raw 30 on Monday night, is Vince McMahon.
yeah.
We know Vince is back with the company. Do you guys see him coming back on screen? Do you see him playing the character, or do you think he's staying behind the scenes purely just to sort out the sale and the logistics of that? Nick?
I am hoping and praying and keeping my fingers crossed and pleading to the universe that Vince McMahon keeps his grubby old fingers off creative.
No creative.
I don't care what Vince does as far as running the business of the company goes. As long as he leaves Triple H to frick alone to run creative, we're fine. Triple H has made some masterful steps in the last 7-8 months. And for Vince to come in now and go, nope, sorry, pal, you're doing it wrong. I want my job back. Is just no. As long as he keeps his hands off creative, it's fine. I don't care if he comes on screen. I fully expect to see him on Monday. But as long as he doesn't have anything to do with creative, I'm fine with it. Like, we all knew he was never going to disappear forever. It's Vince.
How about on Monday, they do it as a surprise and they've not announced it. And we get the Manhattan Center. There's no fans. There's just the old Raw ring from like 93 there. You remember they did it about 5 years ago, didn't they, for the night? And in the ring, in the center of the ring, is BKM, sat in the middle of the ring with 2 torn quads. Would you enjoy it then? So moving on, Andy, how do you feel about Vince?
I don't think he's going to come back at all. I don't think we will ever. I feel if we do see him, it'll be a little bit of a flutter as Vince McMahon, the character, because Vince McMahon or Vincent Kennedy McMahon, the person, has always looked at the difference between Vince McMahon and Mr. McMahon, and he's always, if you look at him on any interviews or any things he's done, we look at the difference. But as for the creative and all the rest of it, I don't think we'll ever see Vince there again. I think the reason he's come back is, there's been an FCC investigation. There's also multiple lawsuits going on against him at the moment. I think he's come back because I think Stephanie was stalling on a sale, because I don't think they wanted that to happen. I don't think they wanted the sale to go through. And I think Vince knows that he needs to get that sale done and dusted. And this is why I don't think it'll go to the Saudis either. I think it'll go to somebody like NBC or something, a reputable company that is far removed from anything like that, where if something happens to Vince McMahon after the sale, it wouldn't hurt their company. But I think he come back because he's panicking. I think he's seeing everything that's coming at him, and he's thought, right, I need to get my money out of this quick.
Well, it's public knowledge that Triple H and Stephanie were against the sale of the company. So it does make perfect sense. I agree with Andy. Vince came back to get this done to the best possible money that he can get it done for. But I think he's doing it for a different reason.
Yeah.
I don't think Vince wants anyone to take over the castle. I think he either wanted to burn it down or to sell it on to somebody else, because he doesn't want anyone taking his baby the way it was. If he sells it on, it's just like when George Lucas sold Star Wars. I've done my time. I created this. Now it's something new. And that's how George looks at it, and that's how Vince will look at it. And as far as buyers go, I fully expect it to be Fox, because Fox already paid $1 billion for the rights to SmackDown. $1 billion.
Yeah, but don't forget NBC paid $2 billion for the network on Peacock.
I think NBC and Fox are the same company, aren't they?
NBC Universal are different, yeah.
That's a good point. Well, I'd say they're probably the two front runners then.
And also because of the very quickly, just because of the bidding rights for the TV programs are due in July. And I think Vince thinks about selling it to one of these companies. So instead of entering a bidding war, he's probably entering a selling war with them.
Yeah.
So he can get rid of the company, because otherwise, if you're NBC and they sign a new contract with Fox, how awkward is it going to be for them to work together for 2 or 3 years? Because that contract is still free.
quite
So
considerably.
now is your perfect window to get rid of that. I'm like Booker T. Now is your perfect opportunity to get rid of the company while you're still in them negotiation periods, because it's free reign at the moment.
Nah, that's a really good point.
And there's another good shout for the Rumble as well.
Yeah.
Texas.
He's been wrestling recently, hasn't he, as well?
Yes. Yeah,
back in ring shape. So no, I hope you guys are right. I hope Vince is there just to facilitate the sale, and that we don't see the character. And I was also a big Vince fan. I've always given him the benefit of the doubt, but no, we don't need that. My worry is that Nick, you talked about Stephanie leaving as she did. There's a reason for that and the timing of it. We talked about how Triple H is feeling about it. We've also talked earlier, Andy, about The Rock's decision, supposedly leaked by Meltzer. Take that as you will with a pinch of salt. That he's not going to be in ring shape. Ring shape is different to buff movie shape and all these things we've read this week. Is it not a worry, guys, that Stephanie's left? The Rock now might not be at the Rumble, and Vince might be coming back. Do you think there's a connection there? It makes me worry a little bit. No smoke without fire.
I honestly think Stephanie left because Vince came back. And I don't think Stephanie left because Vince came back in the respect of, he's come back to take over the company. I think she left to protect her own brand. It's very risky for Stephanie to be associated with her father at the moment, with everything that's going through. To protect her brand from a legal standpoint, it is best to distance yourself from Vince McMahon. She doesn't need the money. She was going to leave. She was going to leave, if I remember, a few months ago. And then she came back and got made temporary CEO when Vince retired in the first place. So I think she's just doing exactly what she was going to do, but now she's doing it more for semi-political reasons.
Well, she has just had surgery, hasn't she? Don't know whether you see it. Yeah, I didn't see that on her personal Instagram. She put up that she was having surgery the other day with a bit of an injury that she had. But also, I think it's probably come down to Vince is probably saying, sell it now. Let's get it done. Let's start moving. He's probably got Nick Khan coming to him saying, look, Vince, she's not doing this properly, do you know what I mean? And then Vince has gone, right, you want to do it properly, I'll have to do it myself, and he's come back. The other thing that you got to think is quite right what you say about protecting your brand, Nick. Let's not forget Stephanie spoke with all of these television executives and whatnot for years. Yeah. So she distance herself from there. Who knows the conversation she's having in the background about the takeover?
You just don't know. And you talked as well before, Nick, about the sale and the potential. You compared it to the Lucas situation with Star Wars. And with Disney being in the running, Disney are worth, I believe, 180-something billion. WWE could be on the market for as much as 10 billion. So it is a drop in the ocean for them, and it is a possibility. So last question for you guys tonight. If it is that WWE ends up on Disney, which WWE character is going to suddenly get a red arm?
There's a couple.
Sheamus. They'll bring back the red glove gimmick.
I like it. Let's do it. Let's sell. Give Mickey Mouse the company right now.
But I think you'll see a lot of. You think it's been PG so far? I think you'll see it. Take a thing off the cliff. I just don't think it's a good fit for Disney. I think NBC Universal is the one, because even if you go to Universal Park, it's a bit more adult themed than what it is at Disneyland, and stuff like that. But also,
you got to remember, dude, technically Pulp Fiction's a Disney movie.
Yeah,
they paid for it. Just because they pay for things doesn't mean they're going to change them.
No, does that mean the Gimp is a Disney princess?
In theory.
Yeah.
I just think myself that just one more thing is, like, if you're Universal as well, and don't forget Universal still own their parks 100%. Disney don't own all their parks 100% anymore. They're owned by different subsidiaries and whatnot. So for Universal, they could actually build a WWE land, or they could move NXT from Florida to, they could keep it in Florida, but just move the Performance Center into Universal and have a show every day, which would be absolutely perfect for the wrestlers to be able to keep their stuff going in front of live crowds. And that. It just fits well for me.
A lot of people bash it online. I personally saw TNA at Universal Studios half a dozen times, and I remember when WCW used to be at like MGM Studios for Nitro, and it was always good. I don't think it was any more PG then than the normal.
Well, just let me ask you this question, though, Si. If you put NXT level up there, yeah, so you're not putting the normal TNA, you're not putting the normal WCW, you're not putting SmackDown, Raw, nothing. You're just putting level up there where, one, it's still WWE no matter what they say. Two, it gets you can put all the merch and everything there, and three, from a company standpoint, you're giving all these brand new wrestlers precious ring time in front of a crowd every day.
Every single day. Yeah. You could literally run that as a new show, a live daily show that told a week-long story, which WWE have never done.
And the best thing about it is you could see maybe a physical Hall of Fame with people, you could see Ric Flair in the Hall of Fame and ride Space Mountain on the same day.
Yeah, which would be absolutely to see a physical Hall of Fame would be the dream, and I think that would be.
I would love to see a physical Hall of Fame.
Let's not forget with all these other positives that we've got, the biggest thing here is they own the network right now already.
Yes. Yeah.
Which they paid $10 billion for, I believe.
No, they paid $4 billion for, and the company's up for $7. So
$7, right? Okay. It's going to be an exciting year, guys. We're slowly running out of time here. I've got one last question for you both. It's 2023. It's our first show of the year together. So I would like you each to give me a wild prediction for the year. What are we going to see in wrestling that's just going to blow everybody's socks off? Start with you, Andy.
Sale of WWE. And then at some point we will see... Oh, I tell you what we'll see is... And this will happen this week. We will see AEW wrestlers on WWE television.
Whoa. AEW contracted wrestlers on WWE television.
Yeah.
That's a shout and a half. Anybody in mind?
I believe even straight away now at Raw 30, you might get Jericho or Danielson, someone like that popping up there. Whether they popped up there in real life or it's a vignette is another matter, but we will see them on television.
Vignettes, yeah. It wouldn't be the first time this year, would it, for Danielson, Jericho, and was it Paul White as well?
And AJ.
How about you, Nick? Wild shout for 2023.
Jay White will get out of his contract with New Japan Pro Wrestling and sign with WWE. It's for me more than anything else. I honestly believe that Tony Khan wouldn't know what to do with Jay White. He would get completely lost in the shuffle and just end up being another guy on the AEW's already bloated roster. You give Jay White, with his mic skills, his in-ring ability, and his ability to tell a story both in and out of the ring to somebody like Triple H, superstar. Like, he will blow everybody out of the water in that company. He is that good. He's just never given the stage to do it. When they put the belt, random fact, he has held the World Heavyweight Championship longer than any other gaijin in the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling. None of them have ever made it to a full year. He did a full year as World Heavyweight Champion in New Japan Pro Wrestling. That during a pandemic. And he still drew fans in. Right? People still came to the shows, and it was on Jay White. Yes, some of it was Okada, but most of it was on Jay White's back. You put him in WWE with the WWE's publicity machine behind him, you've got the biggest star in the world in the next 2 years.
Well, let us know in your comments if you think any of these theories are...
Hang on. We've got two.
What about yours?
Wait. We're out of time. So, yeah, let us know in the comments.
Look, dude, to quote Vince McMahon, we own the network. We've got time.
Well, if I have to. So, Jade Cargill in AEW is 49-0 at the minute. I've been preaching for quite a long time that I believe a 50th match should be for the world title. So my bold prediction for the year is that Jade is going to be Jamie Hayter at Revolution. It makes a bit of a mockery about the current booking over there, but let's forget about that. It's, for convenience. Give Jade the belt over Jamie Hayter. She's 50-0. She ends up defending it every week, goes through the whole roster, gets to about 80-0, and then at the end of the year at Full Gear, loses it to Goldberg.
I thought you were going to say Eddie Kingston then.
This is why I was going to end the show. But yeah, no, guys, we can't thank you enough for joining us. If you get to like and subscribe and tell all your friends about this channel, we're going to be here every week. We're going to be doing a lot of fun things. Guys, is there anything you'd like to talk about that we've got coming up this week?
So yeah, guys, we're going to be live Tuesday with our Royal Rumble prediction show. Also, have a look out. We're going to be doing some new things on this channel, like wrestling short videos or the little edits and stuff like that. So, make sure you do subscribe to the channel. Join us. We'd appreciate the support. And also, any content you want to see yourselves, this channel's very open. We're open to suggestions from people who watch us and stuff like that. And, when we say join the Legion, we've joined the family.
That's it. I'm just going to promote the hell out of us, guys. Right. The simple fact is we have missed you lot. We've been away for a while. Things happen, but we're back now. We're going to do our best to provide the most entertaining, fun, and incredible content that we could possibly put out on a weekly basis. It might not be that regular at first, but the more word you spread, the more we will be able to do. So for all of you at home, thank you. I love you all. Welcome to the Legion. See you next week.
Wrestle Legion. We make it make sense.